Hello everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Prismata. We are in the queue. No games live. It's still the same recording session for me as last episode, and so there are very few players online. This time maybe we will have trouble getting matched. So just in case, I thought I would just start some games against MasterBot while we wait. You know, as always, MasterBot is kind of not the biggest competitor, but this is still something to do, right? What's going on here? Like, Centrifuge is cool, but isn't Synthesizer even cooler? You, like, want Asteri as, like, a pretty cool attacker. There's, like, Chieftain, and Synth lets you get into, like, a defense grid once without having to pay a huge investment for it. Tarsiers into Smorkus is also, like, kind of a really good attacker. And, like, Corpus for Soak will be fine. But I think that you just want to go 3rd NG into Conduit into Forge Synthesizer. And kind of go relatively big. But there's just like a lot of Soak with Doomed Mech. There's 4 color Soak, right? So that seems not 4. There aren't even 4 colors in the game. Come on, get with the program. But there's like Asteri for Soak, Doomed Mech for Soak, Corpus, Chieftain. So there's really a lot of ways to get more defense. And there's a big absorber that I think you should be able to get, because the only thing that can like rush you down is a Asteri Cannon, which is kind of laughably bad at rushing. Do I want the Synth right now? It seems better than anything else I can get with my blue. Like, I want a Synth eventually. I kind of want an Animus, but I don't want to cut any drones for it. So I think this is the best I'm going to come up with. Force field's... not force field. Wall's fine. You could get an Asteri instead of all these drones, but I don't want to. I think I want like an Animus and then a grid next turn with the Synth click. And then we can start buying an Animus now, next turn a grid and Tarsiers, and then start buying like some real attackers someday soonish. It's a little too much green, but I think we'll be able to spend it relatively soon. Right, there's big green sink in like Asteri, and of course this spends a chunk of it as well. You might also do something like click it to buy Doomed Mech Chieftain or something if you need like a lot of Soak in a hurry. And that costs you what, like 5 green? So yeah, we could spend green pretty quickly if we wanted to. So let's say I wanted to fit an Asteri in this turn. I can't really spend my red. I could get this, but then I'm not spending my blue. So this is kind of cool, and makes it difficult for opponent to get the defense grid on like the only turn when they realistically could do so. It wastes the blue, but that might be worth doing. What are some non-Asteri lines? You get this so that next turn you can get the Asteri without floating a bunch of tech. And let's say a Chieftain. This threatens 7 damage, which is pretty cool. And then next turn it's pretty easy to get like an Asteri plus something blue. And the chieftain should be getting okay value. Opponent's gonna have a lot of attack 3 turns from now. If they don't, we're sort of in a pretty happy state anyway. Yeah, so this is like a Stary Splitter NG or a Stary Splitter drone or something. Or even a Stary Chieftain for 24 and 6 green, which I will have. Yeah, that seems pretty cool. Yeah, so opponent tries to get a grid, but has to hold back 2 splitters to do it, which is, well, they were free to hold back, but now you're like losing one, right? So that's not so great. Slight granularity exploit against me here. Attacking for 8 is making me lose both NGs. And that's what opponent's going to do, is attack for 8. You could force field to prevent it. I'm not sure how important granularity is when you have a Stary clicks available. Did I say 5 green? It obviously costs 6 green. So I could actually do this again next turn, which would be stupendous. But only if I don't build the force field, so I should really consider whether I can do this again, because it would be really great. I'm gonna be able to click a Stary for 1 extra defender. So I'll have a total of 10, 11 defense. Opponent will have 7, 8, 9. Can they add 3 attack this turn and still defend? It seems a little bit tough, but maybe. Yeah, I'll go for it. I'm gonna take the granularity exploit to try to get this better turnout. And I'll be able to fix my granularity with Corpus instead of Smorcas click if I want, like if I have to. It'll mean like not having as much money to spend on non-red things, but that's still pretty cool. Yeah, so this granularity exploit means opponent gets to hold back the splitter for free, but that's not really the end of the world. I don't have 6 green this turn. I keep like somehow miscounting. I don't know, guys. It's a mystery. I could... Is there any reason to barrier here? No, there just isn't. I could force field so that opponent has to click the splitter to do a damage to my wall. Yeah, I'm actually not getting exploited if I force field here. Right? Also, this chieftain is not getting as much value as I hoped it would. Opponent only has like 11-ish damage, and I'm absorbing for 13 actually. That's sort of fine. Right, see if they attack for 9, then I lose wall. If they attack for 8, I lose force field. If they attack for 7, I'm exploited, but they can't do that. So I think this is a good force field. I could not click the Smorcas and I'd have $5, which I can't really spend. 4, I mean. Yeah. I don't know. Masterbot seems to be doing okay this set, which is pretty sad given how terrible his opening was. It suggests I've made some serious mistakes. My Asteries aren't getting as much value as they should, right? I'm not able to click them. Let's throw in some more conduits, though. Actually, why do that? Let's just unclick the Smorcas and spend our red. But I will get a fourth conduit so that I can threaten a Stary next turn, which would be real nice. Yeah, I think I'm in pretty good shape here. Losing these chieftains is kind of a bummer, but I think I'm still like doing pretty well in terms of my actual attack. And now this chieftain at least is getting pretty good value. The Smorgas Click is pretty good right now because it kills a splitter. On the other hand, the splitter isn't doing any damage, but it will next turn, so I'd still like to get rid of it. We can throw in that third Asteri, should be pretty backbreaking. And then I can finally start cashing these in for defense right about now. Yeah, he's holding back his chieftains, you know, multiple turns early, which is a big bummer for sure. Whoa! Fourth Asteri! Let's actually just get a Corpus here. The chieftain is going to be getting held back. I don't need a Corpus. Let's just get some Tarsiers. I have so much defense with this chieftain and 3 Asteries. 4 Asteries. Oh my god, my defense grid is almost out. Yikes! That's kind of scary news. I'm absorbing for 13 here. So you don't really want to build that many barriers, right? Just this and absorb onto wall. 14, 16, like I'm already absorbing all of the damage. Opponent will therefore hold Chieftain and Rhino. Actually, you know. So, this is looking like a little bit of a problem. On the other hand, I can get 4 Gauss cannons. That's pretty greedy. I'm gonna have a lot of trouble defending next turn, aren't I? If I do this. Maybe I cut one of these for NGs. Opponent's losing at least 1 damage, probably. I mean, and that's like if they absorb onto Chieftain and lose Rhino. Realistically, they're down. Yeah, this Chieftain like should be soak. So realistically, down 2, 3 damage. So you could consider cutting this wall and building a Corpus. Since they have to be down at least 1 and they're probably down 3, this sort of defends okay. And then you can grab like a Doomed Mech, Gauss Cannon, more NGs. Yeah. And now the Doomed Mech is our main absorber. Although it's sort of tempting to get a Chieftain here. I think I would rather just continue the Doomed Mech train. And this should be about the end for Masterbot. Yep. So, as predicted, not a lot of players in the queue. So we're just sort of like fooling around against Masterbot here. But it's sort of nice to like not have the time constraints so that I can just sort of play at whatever pace I feel like, which is actually kind of faster than a time game. It's just like I don't have to manage my time by like, as you know, I like to spend my time bank, not my time bank, my allocated turn time like most of the time. so that I can think about future turns. But when there's no time controls at all, I can just not... If there's nothing to think about on a turn, I can just take the turn and think later. So, I don't know, like... A lot of the things I said I wanted to do were in fact done in the game, which is nice. Obviously, Masterbot's opening is... Well, I mean, it's bad, but it's not as... It's not the worst opening Masterbot's ever made. He only floated tech once. Pretty good, honestly. Kind of bought the wrong stuff. He was playing like base only 3rd engineer until 24 drones. Which I think can rarely be right. I don't know. Well, it's fine, like, sometimes to just like go crazy on droning, but if you're doing all that and just like getting Tarsiers, I don't know, is it really worth it? My Asteries and Chieftains, they all felt a little bit meh. Like, the first Chieftain was maybe a little too soon. There was some line I was considering that didn't get a Chieftain, wasn't there? Like, I was looking at this and then floating blue. And that's probably good. I mean, I could actually build 2 Tarsiers instead of the Smorkus, but attacking for 7 instead of 5 seemed pretty good, and putting my red into a damage instead of into like buying attackers seemed pretty good. That's to say, buying a Smorkus now so that on future turns I could be getting value out of my red by clicking Smorkus instead of having to get value out of it by spending money was nice. So I think the Smorkus was better than the 2 Tarsiers, in which case, like, I don't know, the Chieftain seems okay. And it wasn't like it did nothing. It got less value than a Chieftain sometimes does, but it got me it was still pretty good. You know, it bought me the time to do some other stuff that I wanted. Alright, well, let's jump in another quick Masterbot game, and this will probably be the last game of the episode. If we get matched in the middle, then you'll get like 2.5 games or whatever. What's the deal here? I mean, Steelforge and Bombarder, pretty big deal. Possibly noteworthy is Apollo. Mostly because of Vivid Drone, right? Apollo sniping a Vivid Drone is pretty cool. It's not like amazing, but it's pretty good. Well, I don't know, maybe it is amazing. But Apollo is like a pretty bad unit, and so you need to be getting good value, like sniping Vivids with it. Centrifuge is also kind of interesting, but not that likely to be useful because Steelforge is already a way to get up to the amount of blue that you want without having a big investment. You can like buy Forge, Steelforge, buy something with triple blue if you want it, and then like start clicking Steelforge. Likewise, Oride Core is a blue sync, Bombarder is kind of a blue sync. And you're going to be happy to have red all the time, so I don't think you really want to fuge into like temporary red or temporary blue. It would be really nice to be able to get like Sentinels and Bombarders. They're both like good soak. Which puts you at like 14 or 15 drones at least. But I don't think there's really a reason to go 4th Engineer turn 1. I think I'm just gonna get 2 drones here. Probably get a 3rd Engineer now. Just because like while Vivid Drone is on the table, energy is as good as money, and I'm gonna want a drone for at least a little while, I think. Right, now I can buy 2 drones as D1 instead of DT. And as long as I do that twice, the Engineer is paying for itself and giving me 1 extra health. Downside being that I have more Vivids, and so like if opponent snipes them with Apollo, I'll be kind of sad. So I don't know. I just don't think I need to worry about opponent doing that because it should be kind of bad to buy Apollo. Interesting to see Fastimus. I don't think that's very often good with Bombarder. Yeah, especially if you're just going to float the red. So, good try, Masterbot, but I think he's already blundered the opening. I just need to not mess up my side. This seems okay. I'm not thrilled about the splitter, but what else are you going to do with the blue this turn? And it'll let me get an Oride Core while holding the splitter next turn, because Masterbot is like guaranteed to build a wall or a Rhino or something. So holding the splitter will be my defense, a Oride Core will be my blue spend, and then I have a lot of money to play with to get like a Steel Forge and maybe an Animus or something. Probably a little early for the Animus, not sure. Maybe it's a little early for the Steel Forge? Right, so this is what we predicted. He's ready to get Bombarders, though. That's kind of scary. I guess he doesn't realize Steel Forge is in the set. So I want to keep spending my energy if I can. But maybe the second drone is too much. Maybe I now want to get Animus Steel Forge. I said I wanted the Conduit, but it's looking like that's a little bit too much, maybe. So the question is, suppose opponent buys a Steel Forge, right? Or a Bombarder. What do I have to do to defend? He'll be attacking for 4, basically, right? He can't even attack for 5 because he can't buy Bombarder Rhino. And 4 is okay. I can live with 4 attack, right? Let's just lose 2 NGs. No big deal. I won't be able to click the splitter for my Oride Core. But that's sort of like a little okay if it lets me get out of Bombarder. So I think this is fine. My next turn is like Bombarder... Actually, I could click the splitter to buy a Bombarder Rhino click Oride Core. I get 1 less absorb, but I gain 2 more gold. And I don't know, is that good? Not exactly. Because I don't want to be... I don't want to click the Rhino is the thing. Right, the Bombard is a little early because I'm not doing any real... I'm only doing 1 damage, and that's damage I can deny absorb for. So a Bombarder is okay to absorb with, but I guess I get Bombarder Tarsier, hold Bombarder once while buying a second Bombarder, and then I can swing with everything. Given that I'm buying Bombarder Tarsier, do I want an NG? That's $12. But then I can't click the splitter. I guess that's fine. $12 leaves me 5. I think I don't NG so I can get D1. Or maybe Conduit instead. I don't know, this Oride Core is kind of bad if I'm not clicking it right away. There's the Bombarder. So I'm getting my own. And this was the plan I had in mind. How bad is it? I don't know. I still like, I kind of like, get out of here, Tarsier. I still kind of like this idea. It lets me do this. start getting sentinels as well. Which is kind of cool. And it pressures 5 attack against Masterbot so that he can't easily build a second Bombarder because 5 attack is what he has. He has to spend some tech or hold a drone in order to absorb. Or hold Bombarder, which is actually like not very good because I have 3 NGs. Like, he's already at the absorb barrier of this Rhino, so he doesn't really want to hold the Bombarder. Yeah, I kind of like this. Yeah, so he has to hold the drone. I can't get the Sentinel while also getting a second Bombarder, which kind of is not great. But the second Bombarder is paramount. Get a Rhino, right? I mean, we're swinging with this, right? Otherwise, hanging around with these 2 Bombarders kind of stinks. Opponent wants to click both Bombarders, in which case I lose a Rhino, but it's kind of hard to do so, right? I'm threatening 7-8 damage. Yeah. Oh, I'm matched, finally. 117404. Base plus 5. Odin. Didn't I? Is this the same person I played a while ago and called him Numbers Guy? Maybe not. I don't remember. Someone had the name. There was just a bunch of numbers. But I thought it was more than 6. Because I remember I refused to try to say them all. Maybe I'll call this guy Numbers Guy anyway. I think Odin is the dominant unit here. Red... Well... Red does have some defense. Husk and Blood Pact is pretty serious. But Odin is just so much pressure, and red attack is not honestly all that great, it's just Immolites. I think Odin is still worth going for. Especially with Steelforge. So that you can like buy Odin and then not be committed to spending buying 3 splitters every turn. You can like click plus wall or something and even get into like maybe red or green. DA? Okay. Well, we're gonna see how this goes. You're gonna get to hit some engineers for free if you buy Immolite, but I don't know how great that is really gonna feel. I could have cut a drone for an NG. I don't think that's the right idea. Right, opponent can threaten a breach by buying 2 Immolites if they want, but it's not very interesting, I think. I can just build a wall and then the Immolites suck a little bit. We're getting like a turn 7 Odin, I think. Right, the fastest Odin you could get is still available to me, right? Like, this is Odin, but it's obviously like not good because I could breach for a zillion, so we're not going to do that. Instead, we'll just build a splitter as a defender. And something like this. Well, do I need the Steelforge yet? Opponent's going to attack for 6. Probably like wall Immo or something. Not wall, Rhino Immo. And like wall onto splitter is fine. In principle, I don't need a second blue yet. But what would I do instead? NG? I could have this and try to like double wall plus splitter click, but I think they'll have a Rhino, so that's not so great. So I think I just do this and I don't get the second blue yet. Except, well, what else am I doing with my life? Like, next turn... Can I get wall forge, drone? No, I need 2 forges. I need to spend 9 on tech next turn. And I think about 5 on a wall. That's 14. So I can't get 3 drones. I could honestly do this and then I don't need the wall, but what else am I doing with my blue, right? So I think I might as well get the steel forge so I have access to double wall, and I'll probably just float the blue. But this is better than delaying it for a turn and effectively floating the gold. I thought you would want a rhino here to stop me from clicking my splitter. Yeah, there you go. Whoa. 4 immolites per turn is your plan? That is pretty nuts. I don't know if it's... I don't mean to say that it's bad, it just, like, shocks me. I can just get, like, a preemptive wall here, I think. Can't get the NG if I want the Odin. So, opponent kills wall NG. No, they kill wall NG. I have remaining wall NG splitter. That is 5, 6 defense available. I can defend 6 attack with that, right? Opponent will be attacking for, at most, 7. Which is a larger number than 6. So if I get the Odin here, and they go quad immolite, then my splitter gets breached for exact. But they have to be willing to click everything to do that? Like, they have to buy quad immolite and click everything. Am I off by a turn somehow? What if I just delayed my Odin even more? I think I might never get it. They click all this and buy quad immolite. I buy Odin. They click all their stuff and can buy rhinos and packs. Well, they're gonna be floating red. I think this is the best I can come up with, but I'm a little bit afraid that I might be losing. Blood Pact is pretty serious. Yeah. But see, if I do this, they just get more immolites, and I never get the Odin down. So I just don't... Well, do they? Can I just, like, start clicking splitters at that point and, like, win with buying blue, like, splitters as my plan? I think they have enough blood packs that I can't really win that way. And so threatening to attack for 7 is kind of tough for them to deal with. They can deal with it. I don't know. Ugh. But they're giving me botches to do that, so I don't know. You have to build 2 blood packs now? No, not a rhino. What? I guess the Rhino is sort of being gambited because you believe it's impossible for me to click Odin, maybe? But it's not. Right, you attack for 6, I hold 2 drones. Kind of not. Well, I hold 1 drone and then they kill it. Or they hold some stuff and I get a little bit exploited. I don't know. What if I didn't click the Odin? Well, then I'm giving their Rhino value. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to click the Odin. Yeah, like it's killing 2 drones and a Rhino. How could you not? Cut them for blood. God, really? I don't know about this. Well, okay. Clicking the Odin is not that great right now, actually. It kills drone, husk, dead rhino, which is like okay, but actually this is sort of working out just fine for me. Conduit for force fields would be really nice, although what if I just got an Animus for blood pacts instead? That's even better. And I think I'm perfectly happy to get a second engineer here, although it's not exactly clear to me if I'll need it. Oh god, I'm getting so badly exploited, what an idiot. Ugh! I forgot about that. I should have held a drone at least. Oh, I hope they click that rhino for no reason. This is very welcome. Okay, spent a rhino charge for no reason, lost some drones. That's very nice, thank you. This one seems to be going my way, I believe. Yeah, I mean, Red, as I said, Red had quite a bit of defense, and opponent didn't really avail themselves of it. They preferred to gambit rhinos against my Odin clicks, but like Odin gambiting against Odin clicks is not as good as it used to be, because when Odin had 4 health you really wanted to hold it back pretty often. With only 3 health, the reward for holding it back is much lower, and so you tend to click it more, which means gambiting against it is not so great. Oh, it did a... I didn't notice. No. Wasn't there some turn where opponent attacked for 7 into... No, they attacked for 6 into this. Here they attacked for 7 into this, which is clearly a mistake, but it was sort of over by then. Anyway, gambiting against Odin is not so great, and these rhinos, I described them as gambiting against an Odin click because buying rhinos for soak is pretty awful, and you have great options for red soak available, and so by buying a rhino, you're declaring that you don't intend to soak with it. You think that soaking with this will not be necessary. because you think I won't be clicking my Odin. If you thought I would be clicking my Odin, you would be getting Blood Pact or Husk as just much better defenders than these Rhinos. Of course, Rhino also like applies more pressure, and so it might be the case that I could click Odin against Blood Pact, but that I couldn't click it against Rhino. In which case, again, like Rhino would be good because you think I can't click it while Rhino is on the board. However, I think that it's just like very optimistic to imagine that I'm not clicking Odin, and so these Rhinos that were being lost on defense really should have been some of the better red defenders in the set. I think that would still be losing, but it would be an improvement. The second Animus was an interesting try. I did not really anticipate that kind of thing. And it really was just enough that it was hard for me to buy the Odin. Maybe, just maybe, I could have delayed it a turn. But I just feel like that would have been giving opponent too much. I would never get the Odin if I couldn't get it now. And so it was worth losing all this stuff for. Just like, red really hates being attacked for 1,000,000 every turn, and so I really need to get the Odin so I can start attacking for 1,000,000 every turn. Yeah, I don't know. Odin timing is tricky. And I'm glad, by the way, that I did get that second, the Steel Forge here, because the opponent actually did, or here. Right, I got Steel Forge looking at this and thinking I would probably float the blue. Because, like, I expected 6 attack, which I'm prepared to deal with just 1 wall. What I did not expect was a second Animus, which is opponent threatening to build 4 more Immolites, which makes my Odin hard to get. So this extra wall it's like a preemptive wall. It's like if this were an infusion grid, I would much rather buy that than this wall. It's not a defense. Its promptness is not important. It's just a cheaper way to get 3 health than NG is. And I at least didn't get breached for a drone, just got breached for exact. Yeah. Okay, I mean, the graphs are going to be kind of... I guess we looked at them already. Didn't attack for very much, but I got up to the amount opponent was attacking for, and I was way up on econ and had better defensive tech while doing that, so just had to hold things off a bit with walls and Steel Forge to get down the Odin to equalize against the aggressive opening my opponent had. Alright, cool. Well, I'm glad we got a game with a human in there. We didn't get to finish the Bombarder game against Masterbot, but that's okay. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.